I'm back. Like I promised, we could only do so much on our first video. We're cleaning. It's not Rockland. I have to change the heading on my video, but it's Rockford Furniture in Rockford, Illinois. I keep saying Rockland in my head, and now that that's in my head, it's hard to get rid of it. And if you're new to me, welcome to My Kind of Crazy. I am Linda, live with Linda. I pop on here kind of randomly, hopefully. Once I get into a groove and get my new studio, wherever that may be, set up, we'll get it more organized and on a schedule. But for now, we're going to play it as I have something to show you, and I can set up with my cameras and lighting and stuff. So that's how we're going to roll. I've been painting professionally since like 1996. I started on walls, and we're working with furniture, so I kind of know a thing or two about prepping. Sometimes I don't always get everything out to you clearly in an orderly fashion. So one of the things I failed to mention when we were scraping and sanding is you should wear masks, gloves, goggles, all that prior to doing any of your prep and, well, painting with the chalk paints or clay paints or whatever. They're very VOC friendly. If you're very sensitive, then go ahead and protect yourself. But you shouldn't need to once you get to the painting stage. Certainly for the prep stage, if we were using a furniture stripper, I suggest like a citrus oil one. Citrus strip is one of them that comes to mind, but Crud Cutter, I believe, makes one that people love. Work with your local hardware store or your retailer, wherever you're buying your paints. I am using, like I said, I use the carbide scraper. This thing was amazing to get this paint off the top of this piece. And I'll definitely be using this again. I'm going to want to make sure that I unscrew this and store the blade because this is super sharp. Don't want any accidents with this blade. You can watch the other video I did earlier today on how nicely that worked for me. I have the rest of the base. I cleaned the sides and then I sanded it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to clean the drawers and get them ready for sanding now as well. So the top piece, I didn't bother cleaning first because there were so many scratches and all that, and I wanted to try the scraper. The scraper was going to scrape off anything that was on the top, any polishes and fingerprints and oils and all that. So I wasn't so concerned about that. Let me just try and get the comments. And if you are watching, please let me know. Don't be shy. I know a lot of you like to ghost watch out there. But now that I don't have the store, it's nice to stay in touch, isn't it? Well, I still have the store till the end of the month. We are getting a booth. If you didn't catch the first video today, I'm setting up with Picket Fence in South Yarmouth. Kathleen is an amazing person, and I'm excited to be there. It's a very small booth. So we'll have one hutch to start with for the Dixie Belle there. If I get something else set up where we can set up more Dixie Belle that isn't too close to Kathleen, we'll set that up. And also anything that you can't get there, you can also order from me. I can ship. I can also meet you locally. Hello, Gracie. Thank you, doll. I appreciate it. So I'm just kind of going over what we did in the first video a little bit. So we scraped it with the carbide scraper. Loving the carbide scraper, Gracie. Love it. And then I went and I sanded. We have my sander attached to my shop vac. Now it isn't like having the surf prep. I did get a little mess on myself. But if I was sanding this the way I would have a dust cloud in here, and it's not bad. I'm sure I'm going to have to dust a little bit though. But if you're doing this in your house and you can't afford a surf prep, that's definitely the way to go, is get yourself a good shop vac, hook it up to your sander. You might have to get an adapter for the two hoses, the end of your sander, the little part that your bag would hook onto to fit into the hose of your shop vac. But you can usually shop those, I believe, at your hardware stores. I still have to shop for one from my Orbital. But yeah. So we didn't clean this first because we didn't need to clean the top of my piece because we were scraping it, right? But now that we're going to do more of the finish, I already did the sides, but I want to show you for the drawers, okay? I have White Lightning already mixed in here. Now, White Lightning is a TSP plus a degreaser, all right? And it's going to be important that you dissolve it first, and it's only like, let's see, 2 heaping tablespoons into a gallon of hot water. Now, I don't think you have to start with hot water. You can dissolve it in some hot water in the beginning of your gallon and then start mixing the rest of your water. But it's a powder form. I got just a little left. I've sold everything else with our holiday sale that we had, and I'm not ordering any more Dixie Belle until that new primer comes out. But I usually take 2 heaping like plastic spoons full into like a normal, spray bottle that you have for cleaning supplies at home. I mark it so I don't get it mixed up with anything else because I do have some of these with just water in them. So it's important to mark that this is TSP, trisodium phosphate. It is a phosphate, so we try not to use this exceedingly so because it goes into your environment, right? But you got to clean, and there's not much you can do. You can get mineral spirits, but you're going to have to clean off the oils. Mineral spirits is an oil, all right? You don't want to leave the oil on your surface unless you're using an oil-based stain or paint or something over it. So a lot of people say, well, just use mineral spirits. That can be a problem for you. If you're able to go outdoors, then sure, use mineral spirits, scrub it down, wipe it off really good. Then use your White Lightning and scrub it and rinse it really, really good. Or after your mineral spirits, let that dry really well and then get out a denatured alcohol and wipe it down with that because the alcohol will break down the oils. And if you have any left, it'll leave like it'll always leave a sort of a haze, but like there's more of a chalky haze when there's an oil or a wax left on your surface. So that's the nice thing about using a denatured alcohol. However, it is cold outside, although it's not as cold today as it could be. It's warmed up a little bit. We got rid of all the snow that we got the other day. We had a good rainstorm last night, actually. But, it's cold enough. And so I wanted to work indoors, and this is what we're doing. And I says, you can work indoors and not make a huge mess, and this is how we do it. So mineral spirits, yes, they make an odorless, but to me, I still feel like it has an odor. And then again, you got to get rid of the oil left on your surface from the mineral spirits. So you can also then clean it with this, or just clean it a few times with this if you're having a tough time with surface oils, polishes, and things like that. Again, in the nice weather, you can go and just use your denatured alcohol. All right. You can just spray your piece. So this is what I did to the base of my piece before I sanded, and then I hit it with the blow dryer. All right, it wasn't that long ago I was live, and I already did all that, right? So this is super easy to do. I'm getting some gunk off, all right? I'm getting some gunk. And now that we've got a good, see, I can see it lightening up. A lot of times when you start seeing the color of your wood lighten up, you're getting through the oils and the polishes and things like that. Those oils and polishes hold on to the dirt, which is one of the reasons you don't like to use like an end dust kind of a thing. Big Mama's butter I like because it just conditions the wood. It goes into the wood. It doesn't sit on top. Because you do need to condition. You do need to take care of the wood. And we will hit these. I don't need to paint the inside of these drawers. These drawers look amazing. I will probably give them a sanding on the outside. Afterwards, probably tomorrow before I start painting. Just to, and then just wipe them down, because I always, whenever I'm painting a piece, and I know one of these drawers was sticking, so I like to get the outside of the drawers a good solid sanding, wipe them down. If I'm going to paint them, you know, you want to use your TSP and rinse really well. I have a bucket of water. Okay, we're going to give it another rinse. You should wear gloves when you're using phosphates, just so you know. And in case you splash, you should wear goggles, okay? All right, and then that will dry, and I will sand that. Easy, easy to do. Now, like I said, a lot of people, when they're chalk painting or clay paint or whatever, right? They're told they don't even need to tack sand, because, oh, that's so awful. I don't have a problem with tack sanding something, because most of the times I want to prep it so that it's a nice finish for my paint. So I'm always sanding my piece anyways. It's very rare that I get a piece where maybe I just hit it with the TSP here and go. It's very rare. I'd rather take the opportunity while I'm going through and I'm getting intimate with the piece, right? I might as well just tack sand it. But what I'm doing now is I'm getting these polishes off, so when I hit my sander to this piece, see, I'm not getting too much off of this drawer, so this one's looking pretty good. And we'll give it a rinse. There is some nicks and dings on this drawer, so I might give this a good little sanding on the top. And if you're painting the piece, you're going to want to weigh out the nicks and the dings versus whether you want to prime. So once I sand this, all right, and I go down to bare wood, not just a tack sand, if I give this a good sanding to get rid of these little nicks and dings on here, I am going to go to bare wood, and then we do want to prime. We want to block the tannins, because this is a mahogany from my experience. This is a mahogany, and see, I'm not getting any residue on my cloth, so that one's good to go. You're going to want to block it from the tannins coming through really well. Now, sometimes even if you don't go through to the bare wood, you still get tannins come through. It depends on what finish they used. I think sometimes a more natural finish, some older oils, maybe a tung oil or something, can maybe not necessarily seal those tannins. And so even on those, it looks finished, you can get some bleed through, even though you cleaned. So, you know, it's always a good idea, when in doubt, test an area and see what it is you need to do. If you start painting an area and you're getting bleed through, just stop what you're doing, clean it, wait for that to dry, and then do your priming. All right, you might have to sand the painted areas so you don't see it on the next coat, you know, smooth it out. See, I'm seeing a little haze here, so I see we've got to do a little scraping here, a little more polish on this drawer. It's interesting that I'm not getting some gunk on it's a little bit, it's just like a very gray, it's not very dark, not like that first drawer. Okay, and we want to give it a good rinse. Rinse it more than once, okay? Because the TSP does leave a residue. And I used to do my walls when I did this as a profession, and the painters would all laugh at me, especially if they were contracted by me to do the prep work, about cleaning the walls. But see, painters typically don't have to deal with walls after they're painted. I was doing work that required more work after the base coat. So I was a stickler about the washing, the priming, and all that. So I know how important it is. All right, so that's rinsed pretty darn well. And then the same thing, okay, we'll finish the big drawers. We have one that it's got a loose, not a loose panel, but it's not totally separated. But it's got issues, okay? So, like I talked about in the first video, this big drawer here, because wood planks, when they're going through the mill for a furniture piece, they might be this wide, okay? But they're not, they're usually not very wide. So this has been pieced together. I can see maybe a line here where it might have been pieced, maybe here. But they do a good job once they piece the planks together and they plane it, they put it through a planer and everything gets sanded smooth. You can't even see the lines, okay? But it's different planks of wood here that have been glued together, basically. And in this case, I have a slight cracking of, it's not really separated, but you can definitely see the line. You can feel it, all right? The whole thing you could definitely feel like it's starting to separate. A lot of these pieces, they're old, they get dried out, and in a lot of these cottages, they're usually not heated in the winter, so it's super cold in the winter. Then they come in the summer, maybe they don't have air conditioning, and get super hot and muggy in the summer. So a lot of these furniture pieces out here on the coastline can take a lot of abuse. And they do a lot of shrinking and expanding and all that. And especially as the wood dries out, things settle in weird ways. So it happens. It's wood. It happens. But I explained that after I clean this, all right, and I'm going to let that dry, I can sand it. But maybe even before I sand it, I'm going to try to get some more glue. I already put some glue in here from my other video to explain it. All right, but when I get the glue in there, I'm just going to try and shove whatever I can in this tiny, it's really not cracked. I'm just going to try and get something in there. And then we're going to have to hopefully sand it smooth. And if it doesn't really come smooth, I'll have to hit it. Since I'm painting it, I'll probably go over it with a skim of Bondo. Bondo will also act like a glue and hopefully keep it together longer than just using, I wouldn't use wood filler because in these really fine details, wood filler just wipes off. You put your paintbrush over it, just going to wipe it off. So I find Dixie mud, once it's on there a good day or so, it holds really well. Okay, so I'll probably go over this area with a putty knife with Dixie mud or Bondo. So, I'll get this clean, I'll rinse it, and then we can do the tack sanding, okay? Just like I've already done here. Let's see if I can get the camera down more. Let's see here. I really didn't even need my phone camera today, but oh well. Okay, can kind of see it. Okay. So you can see I've washed it and I've sanded it, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to clean it again. But I don't want to get my wood wet, okay? That's raw wood, and I'd rather not get that all wet. Okay, and we're going to get this all cleaned up again. So we're good to go. We have a clean surface for painting. Now, I'm spraying this because it does have a finish. This doesn't have a finish, but it's not enough for me to worry too much about. I don't know if you can even see that. Yeah, you can see that. All right, I see a little separation here. I'm going to try and hit, again, some glue in there. And if I do the Bondo, whatever I get for the drawer, I'm going to hit it right here too. Just to make sure that we don't have any problems down the road. We want this piece to last a while again, okay? So I'll finish cleaning the piece. I'll sand my drawers and then rewash them. And then we'll be ready to prime. And hopefully that will happen tomorrow. Okie dokie. That is that. It's just another little quick video. Again, you see anything, check out what we have for Dixie Belle. An order is going to be coming. I'm going to be doing hopefully by the end of the month. It depends when I can get the new primer. And we have a few things left, like a few stamps left from Iron Orchid Designs that are half off. There's a couple things that are 75% off. And then if you see anything in the videos that I've done, you can ask if they're still available. I can invoice you and send it out to you. Any pictures you see, anything, even in the background, just ask if it's still available. I'll try and do a video this weekend and kind of walk the store. But, like our tchotchkes and vintage finds. Gracie, I'm doing buy one at half off, and you get another for free. And I already have crazy good deals on them. I'm not one of those that I go out shopping and I say, look, I bought this for $2 and I'm selling it for $20. If I bought it for $2, I'm probably selling it for $4. So you're getting a good deal because you're going to get two things for the price of the one. So it's, I got some crazy good deals. So that's it. I'm going to keep playing in my sandbox here, do another live on Instagram. And if I'm missing any comments, I will be sure to answer them when I get a chance. And even if you're on replay, just do a hashtag replay. Ask away any questions that you have. No question is silly. And until I see you again, stay sassy.